Hello and welcome to another session of how to become a financial analyst. This is my second session on macros. In my previous session, I've discussed that one of your job is either on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. You have to download the sales numbers from your ERP system, and then you have to do bit of a formatting on it, little bit of more calculations on it, and it take you half an hour to do those calculations. And then we have learned how to create a macro on that file, so that whenever you download a macro, it will just take you few seconds to process all that report according to what your management has desired from you. So I will recommend you, if you have not seen my previous recording, go through that recording so that you can learn more from this session. Okay. And once again, I just want to say this thing, that macro is one of the most powerful functions if you are planning to go for an interview, job interviews, or if you're already in a company and you can tell them that you have a very good intermediate or advanced level of knowledge of macro. That will always give you an edge over your other colleagues who are there. And we also say that macro repeats the tasks. In Excel, a macro is a set of instructions that can be triggered by the keyboard shortcut key or a toolbar button or an icon in a spreadsheet. Okay, and whatever we do in Excel, at the back end, Excel record all on VB, which is Visual Basic, and initially we don't need to know more VB in depth, but whatever it is, we will cover into our sessions. And some of the other basics and that prerequisites for the macros I've defined in the previous file, how you can view the macro, how you can play the macros, and how you can edit the macros was all defined in my previous session. So I will recommend you to go through that. Now let's discuss something about this session, where I will say that using a macro to do data automations for yourself and save your time, bring in more efficiency and accuracy into your work. And again, I feel in repeating that whatever I'm telling you is basically my 20 plus years of an experience in the corporate world in different parts of the world. So whatever I've done in these corporate environments, I'm showing you all those things. Now here, let's say you are working in a company and you have an environment where you very frequently all the employees use a Dropbox to share the data, or you have a server where you share the data, or there's something on a cloud or on a shared drive in Microsoft, whatever. So these names are different, but the concept is the same. Okay, so let me explain you my current story. So here, this is what I'm actually. This is the file of a garment factory. So we have a garment company which sells the garments into different parts of the city, and we are dealing with the 15 different sizes of the pants. They are there. Its codes, and this is their price. And our outlets are into East Zone, West Zone, North Zone, and South Zone. Okay, and then on a daily basis, you have to merge the data of all 4 outlets and has to report to your boss twice a day. One, that is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and second, 7 o'clock in the evening before closing the shop. So let's see the east side. So again, because I have my 12 different sizes, so all the 12 numbers are over here with the description, which is coming from my rate file through a VLOOKUP, and even the rates are coming from the rate file. So that means and that's why it says control sheet. If I change the description and if I update or change the rates, automatically all my data will be updated automatically, because everything is linked with this sheet. And over here, whoever the people are operating my shop, update the total number quantities of the items sold during the day. So at the day end, they update this report twice, before 1 o'clock and before 7 o'clock. And then what you do is you take this data and the west data and the north data and the south data and put it over here into your master sheet or the main total. And as you can see, there's a west, east, there's a west, there's a north, and there's south. So 12 SKUs. So over here we have almost 48 rows of the data. I want to compile it on a daily basis so that I can have my total quantity for the week. Then I can do use my price to calculate my sales. And there are some pivot tables which we'll discuss afterwards that my bosses needs to look into it. Or let's discuss the pivot tables. So here is the total quantity. My boss want to see which of the item is being sold are lower in the volumes and which of the item is higher in the volume. So this one pivot table, and all these pivot tables are attached with one total sheet. So once you update this, your whole pivot tables will get updated automatically. And in the second pivot table, my boss want to see that out of my 12 products, how each of the outlet is performing. So whatever they are doing on a weekly basis, these numbers are straight in front of him and he can compare the performance of the outlets. The third pivot table is your sales and the daily quantity, so that he know that what is the trend. Do people do a shopping more on at the start of the week or at the end of the week or whatever it is. So that is a daily summary of the items sold onto from all the locations. And finally, the last not the least, it was just telling you the revenue numbers or the sales numbers of each shop, the lowest on the top and the highest at the bottom. So now with the macro, what we will do, that on a daily basis, I want my macro to bring this data which is over here, quantities, to my total sheet over here. Okay, and once that data over here in these 5 days, and once this data is updated here, my totals and my calculations will work accordingly. Okay, so let's start a macro over here. So what I will do, I will put my cursor here. Okay, and then at the end of the macros, I will also show you how to create a hyper button so that you don't have to run the macros manually. You can use a hyper button to do that. So let's go into the view, and over here it says macros, and say record a macro. And because I want to do a basic copying the data from there, so I will call it update. The name of the macro is update. I don't want to give any shortcut keys, and over here I can say it's data update so that I know what this macro do. And here I will start. Okay, and as you can see, the macro started. So I will say go at the home button, which thing, and then come up on the quantity, and then go over here onto the east side and say control home, and 1 2 1 3 4 5 come onto the quantity, shift control down arrow key, and 1 2 3 4 say copy, come over here in the total and go on to home, paste values, and then again control come on to the first cell of the east, put my cursor over here, go on to the west, put my cursor control home just to update the shift control down arrow key, copy all 5 days and say copy, and bring it into the total, and wherever my cursor is on this, say go and this, and paste the values. Okay, and then go up down here onto the north, go over here into the north, control home, copy, bring your data over here. This cell data is already present, but because I've done it manually just to update some of the pivot tables, but we will see what happened from Tuesday onward. So now I will go on to the last, which is this. Copy this whole data, copy here, and bring it into the total, and go over here and say paste. And once it is done, and then go up on the top and stop the macro. Okay, so now what we have done is that we have recorded the macro. So to run the macro, before I run the macro, what I will do, I will go into the design and developer, and over here it says insert, and I will take a button over here and place it over here. Okay, and which macro to link with this button? There's an update macro, please link it and say okay, and over here just click it very softly, and whatever comes in, simply just click onto it. And now what I will do, I will go into my E side, and just to save the time, I've already added some of the values which I can use for my Tuesday sales. So I will say copy this thing from here, bring it over here, and from the home ribbon I will say paste values. Now I'm updating the day 2 so that I can run my macro, and same is the case with the West. I've already have my values over here. Just to save the time, I will say copy, bring it here and say paste, and then I can go onto the North. I've done the same thing. I can copy and bring it here and say paste it over here, and then I can go on to the South, which is my last outlet, copy it here, bring it here and say paste. Okay, so now I've done everything. I can go to my totals where only one Monday is appearing. So what I will do, I'll put my cursor anywhere and I can say this button. When I run this button, basically at the back end the update will run, and here as you can see that my macro has bring the numbers for the week 2. Everything is over here. Okay, so now what I will do, I will go into my pivot tables, and over here I will first create the macro. So I will say, I will press this button, say and name this thing as refresh, because that was update, and say okay. And what refresh means to me, I can put cursor anywhere, go into a data and say refresh and refresh all, and as you can see that most of my pivot tables get updated. Now what I have to do, I have to put my cursor over here because my boss wants the lowest on the top and the highest at the bottom. So I will click onto this so that the sorting took place, and will set my thing. Same I will do here. I will want short at the top, at the bottom. I will just expand my here. Over here there is no total, so I'm okay with that, and that's all. And I will say stop my macro. Okay, so what I will do, I can now go into my developer and say insert, bring in the button here and add it over here. Okay, and create it with refresh, link it with the refresh and say okay. And now I think you can go here and name this thing refresh data. Okay, now just to show you, over here the sale is 240, so let me just write 240 671. okay, and what I will do, only I'll just update one cell. I will just update one thing. So I'll just use my Monday numbers, say copy and paste it over here, which is my Wednesday. I just want to see this. So now I will go on to my this button, and you will see that Wednesday number will appear over here. So it says okay, and only the Wednesday for the East region has updated because I've updated there. And now the total here was 240 671, and when I say refresh the data, so now 240 become 269. So now what we have seen here, that once we create the pivot tables, and now the macros, and now if people keep on giving you the data for this week, save it for next week's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and you can save it for 52 weeks of this year. Then you can just change the name, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year. So technically you were previously maybe spending half an hour 45 minutes twice a day, first in the afternoon half an hour 45 minutes, then in the evening half an hour 45 minutes, and with the help of macros we have reduced this thing to just few 5 seconds to 10 seconds jobs in the afternoon, and 5 seconds to 10 seconds job in the evening. So that is why we call it a data automation through the help of the macros, which has bring in more efficiency and accuracy into your work. And I hope that today you have learned something good or new from this session. And if you have any specific situation where you want me to apply the macros and do some automation, then feel free to put your comments at the bottom, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, and last, please don't forget to give a thumbs up if you have liked this video, and subscribe my channel, and share it with your friends and family so that they can also get benefit from these hands-on practical training. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.